I'm going to be real honest, Duke. I just have this theory that when we adopted that bloody song, which I think is one of the great songs of football clubs around the world, I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles. And there's that line, isn't there? Just like their dreams, they fade and die. I think whoever it was that decided we were going to adopt that, quite unwittingly, I'm sure, put a curse on this club.
Yes and no, because there was a point, wasn't there, where back in the 60s when we mate, you haven't pressed live, we're still scheduled.
What?
Mine still says scheduled. Does
No,
yours say live?
we're live, honestly.
Mine still says scheduled in the top corner and
No,
says
look,
scheduled at showtime. Well, I was about to call you an absolute numpty because
you was
mine's
going to
not.
call me a very rude word, weren't you?
I think I called Masuaku it several times last night.
I can confirm you did. You did during the watch along. You might have called him very, very rude words yesterday, and with justification. Although,
yeah, maybe
I sent you that
Some
thing,
people.
didn't I, this morning on WhatsApp? Did you actually open it? Did you read it? Masuaku was given a rating in one publication of 7 out of 10, and I was like, "What game were you watching, or was there any particular mind-altering drugs that you were on?" I'm not sure. I mean, 0.7. -7, yeah, 7.
Yeah,
Really?
1.7. Yeah,
I think
no, I
that'd have been
don't
stretching
get
it,
that.
mate.
That's I don't see where they've got that from, mate. To be honest with you,
No, me neither.
it was an embarrassing and shocking performance from young Arthur, to say the least.
Do you think we're going to see him in claret and blue again? I know what you'd hope, but
if you want my honest opinion on it, I'm hoping not. There was a comment I did I was on watching the player ratings on the Hammers Trap Patreon earlier, and someone made a comment. Martin, I think it was, made a comment along the lines of, "It's not his fault. He's just he's in the wrong place. Unfortunately for him, he's just not good enough. But what else have we got?" kind of thing. And yeah, there was part of me kind of, yeah, fair comment. You can't. Paul Hayden, that's Paul on Facebook there.
Hello, Paul.
I just gone on to have a look. Happy Christmas, buddy. Thank you for coming on, Larry. I saw your tag on Twitter. Did you see that, mate, with the crabs?
I haven't had a look yet. I've got to be honest. I've been sort of buzzing around, so I'll have a look later.
Apparently, he's got crabs for Christmas. I can't. I'm not.
Boy.
I'd like to point out that when I say that, I mean the food
on the barbecue.
Yeah, here we go. Look,
if
I can get this out there. Look, he's got the old.
Oh, hello.
He's got some crabs for Christmas. No, I mean, yeah, you know what? Arthur's out of his depth at our club, and
he'd be out of his depth at Dartford Football Club, let alone West Ham United.
Is he a Championship fullback? Maybe he might get away with a lot more in that level, So,
well, James wasn't too impressed, and he was there, poor sod.
Mate, James, we did a watch along on there last night, and it was painful, to say the least. I'm not. I mean, I can't put the complete blame on Arthur, because there were some other individual mistakes that led to the 2 goals. Obviously, Lanzini losing possession, about 40 yards away from goal. I've heard other comments. And there were a couple of other passages of play between Lanzini losing it and obviously the ball going in. So I'm not going to specifically.
That's kind of where I'm at.
There, listen, he should never have lost it. Where he lost it, but Masuaku switching off. I think if I remember rightly, for the first goal, Rob, they play a quick interchange. Diop goes to ground in trying to block the return pass Bergwijn's, I think it was Doherty. And as Diop goes to ground and Arthur doesn't track Doherty, it leaves Dawson with two choices. One, he stands there and he watches him, essentially Doherty have a free run at goal.
Yeah.
Or he goes to the ball and leaves Bergwijn unmarked. Now, take your pick. What's the lesser of the two evils, really, in the grand scheme of things? When you're in that decision-making situation, do I blame Dawson for making the wrong choice? No. Do I blame Lanzini for losing possession? No. Do I blame Masuaku for not understanding the core basics of defending? I love you.
Hello, Logan.
I just wanted to go on your video.
I gathered you just wanted to come on the video.
Yeah, it's cool.
With your top off, running around. I've seen more meat on a chicken McNugget.
What?
Get out the
Or on
door,
a
skinny mini.
Butcher's pencil.
On a
Sparrow's
butcher's
kneecap.
pencil. Yeah, I'll tell you what. More meat on a sparrow's on a sparrow. Yeah, look at him.
Yeah, more meat on a sparrow's kneecap.
Yeah. Get out the door. Let me do my bloody video.
Just looking at that, I mean, because we discussed it before we went live on the watch along, didn't we? And there was some discussion as to whether Ben Johnson was being deployed as a right-sided centre back or whether he was going to be a left fullback. And I was, because you said to me that Gio had said on the pre-match on Hammers Chat that it was 3-4. Oh dear. I'm on my own, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what's happened there. I'm just going. Oh, hang on. No, he's back. He's back. I don't know what the hell happened there. What was it? Your internet or?
It came up something on the side there because of the Facebook malarkey saying that if we went live too late and then it just popped. So it's just it says live now. It wasn't saying live earlier. So.
How odd. How odd.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously you'd said that Gio had turned around and said, "Oh, Ben Johnson was playing as one of the centre backs and he was playing on the right," and I was like, I can't see that. He's, to the best of my knowledge, he's never played there for the first team. Lo and behold, that was when they started playing. That was exactly where we saw him.
What we said, wouldn't it? We'll see where they line up when they line up, and essentially, you know, as we kicked off, it was quite clear that was what was going on. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he did too shabby, Rob. To be honest with you, I know. Some of the passing stats were a little bit, shall we say, out of alignment for him. Yeah. But for the grand scheme of things, I don't think the lad did too bad for his first game as a centre back, or that we're aware of, anyway. But
do you think we'd have been better served? I know hindsight's perfect vision, but do you think we'd have been better served with Johnson playing as a left back and going forward at the back than what we ended up starting with?
In hindsight, yes and no. I think we started well. We contained them for the most part. It was just a defensive lapse. And
Sharky,
it didn't do us any favours once we got to the tail end of the game. Now, he took off Ashby, and once Ashby had been taken off for Yama, we knew where we were going. We were going back to a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, or however you want to look at it. And for me, it was quite clear that it was the wrong substitution. Now, I gave Ashby an 8 for his performance yesterday, and I will make a statement right now that I feel that the Ashby Johnson conundrum will rumble for a good number of years for us. Because I personally thought Harrison Ashby is now trying to bustle his way through between Vladimir Coufal and Ben Johnson, trying to get in between them. Get out of the way, boys. That shirt's mine. Because I felt that I thought Ashby made an absolute point in case yesterday that he's ready for certain starts in the league now. See, I won't lie to you, Larry. I actually thought Ashby started the game really well, and then towards the end of his time on the pitch, I thought he then started to slow up and made a couple of little mistakes, and I think that was because we were using him too advanced. As I said to you, Rob, he didn't seem like he was playing. He was playing so. I mean, he was literally up there, standing on Vlasic's toes or Bowen's toes at one point.
Yeah.
To the point that I couldn't work out who was who, considering all three of them are blonde. Kind of standing there. But I think he's there tapping on the shoulder of those two boys. And I'll be honest with you, I feel slightly sorry for Vladimir Coufal that he finds himself in this situation now, because
but then again, I suppose Ben Johnson could be played as a left back as well. And obviously, have you heard the news about Gressy?
No,
you haven't.
No.
Okay. Well, the news that I'm hearing is that he's chipped a bone in his back, and he's going to be out for quite a bit longer than we was originally led to believe. So it could well be that Ben Johnson gets shifted over to the left, because, to be honest, if it was a choice between Johnson and Arthur Masuaku at left fullback, I would choose
I'd put
Ben Johnson even with a broken leg. Yeah.
I'd put Roberto at left back ahead of that.
I'd put my French Bulldog there.
Now, that being said, I think game time at left back for Johnson wouldn't be such a bad thing. We've seen him being able to do it on the right. I have no doubt he can do that on the left. Unfortunately, he's got a left peg on him. We saw him score against, was it Villa, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we know he's got a peg on him. So, I mean, listen, grand scheme of things, I'm not happy about Cressy being out long term. But the fact that Ashby's come in and done such a job at right back, which can obviously then free up Ben to play left, I'm not overly concerned by it. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, listen, when I saw the lineup go out last night, Rob, I was encouraged, I've got to say. Yep. I was excited. I was up for it. And I just think as the game went on and I was watching the Muppet not be able to string, decent passes together, knocking the ball out of play, putting the ball into so much space that there was no West Ham player in the space that he was putting the ball into. I just had that feeling then that, and listen, I mean, we were a couple of minutes behind the actual game, because obviously we were watching it on Sky Go on our PCs, and so they went 1-0 up, and again, yes, it was a slip up by Lanzini losing possession, but we kind of know what followed, but in that 90-second period between Spurs scoring and us equalising, we had those three opportunities literally back to back to back from corners. That watching Souček get forward like he did, really encouraged me and gave me some confidence for what's to come. Now,
do you think that because Antonio's going to be out for a while, that now the plan is to get Souček into the box a little bit more than he has done so far this season.
Listen, I don't even think that should be the case just because he's out. I think that should be the case full stop. Listen, set pieces and those kind of snapshot breaks that we do, I don't feel that we utilise Souček enough. Now, listen, when Declan Rice is carrying the ball, I've got no qualms for Souček sitting and waiting. But when we're breaking at pace, I'd rather see Souček being the one last into the box for the crosses, not Declan Rice. Declan Rice carrying the ball. Declan Rice has been carrying the ball better than some wingers. His dribble completion, his running with the ball has been exceptional over the last few weeks, and it's great to see him taking strides to drag us, through games, if you will. We'll try and get us back into games. But Souček last night proved to me just how dangerous he is when he gets that chance of being in the box. He falls two very good saves out of Lloris. The first one was, for me, world class. It was a world class.
The one from the cross from Vlasic to
which he was putting into the corner.
Oh yeah.
The second one, he got up well at the back post. It was looping. I think Lloris made it look a bit more difficult than it was because he was so far ahead of the ball, if you will. So he had to get back and tip. And then Dawson really should have done better with the third corner. I think Lloris came out, went for the punch, got nowhere. Well, I say nowhere near it. He got within, probably half a foot of making connection with a ball, and Dawson at the back post kind of heads it just too high and just too wide. But then Spurs were their own undoing, mate, wouldn't they? With that goal, they were their own undoing.
Eric Dyer got taken apart by the footwork of Bowen, didn't he?
Well, I don't even mean that, mate. I'm talking about the from the goal kick as well. So they get the goal kick from obviously Dawson's header wide, and I listen. We do it sometimes, and there was a point in last night's game where Areola told both Diop and Dawson to piss off because he weren't going to dick around with it there. Well, Spurs did, and I've seen too many teams do it. Since now the ball doesn't have to travel out of the 18-yard box to be touched before it's touched by a defender. We simply trying to play out from the back, and it winds me up. There's no need for it. Oh,
what?
My Jake's got a special guest over, and I've got him down here. He's got Jazz and another special guest over on his Christmas show at the moment.
Father Christmas?
No, K to K.
Okay.
It's better than Father Christmas, in my opinion.
Steady.
But it's always sunny in Philadelphia. They dicked around with it too much. And when they tried to put the ball out, because Bowen decided, I'm going to put some pressure on, which I love to see, by the way. What a balls up. What a balls up. And then, Vlasic, what a hit. What an absolutely, I tell you what, his assist there, he meant to assist that just like Arthur Masuaku meant to score against Chelsea.
I was going to say it was a shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But they all count.
Listen, I couldn't care less. The take from Bowen, the bringing it back onto his right foot and then tucking it back the way it came was outstanding and was a goal scorer's goal, Rob. I know people were banging on last night, and I've seen a lot of it today that we're missing a ruthlessness in front of goal. Well, I felt that Jarrod Bowen showed all the attributes of a striker yesterday, of a good striker. Yeah. Some of the runs into the box, he just wasn't being found. His movement off the ball was not so dissimilar of a Michael Owen-esque kind of, you know, the young Michael Owen when he broke through at Liverpool. He was making all the same sort of runs. Just seemed that the only one that was trying to find him was Declan Rice. So it just annoyed me a little bit. And we got the equaliser, and then what? 2 minutes, if that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't much, was it, between us equalising and them going 2-1 up for what turned out to be the crucial goal, the decisive goal. So, and of course, as you said earlier, we're watching it on Sky Go through our PCs. But my missus, who's, as we all know, a Tottenham fan, was sitting in the room next door to where I am now and where I was yesterday, and I could hear her scream, "Yes!" So of course I knew before we saw it on the where it was going. So yeah, that wasn't nice. I've got to say. But listen, I mean, I've had time to reflect on it, and I'm still disappointed because I just fundamentally think, when all said and done, it was a cup quarter final. This was a team that a month ago we played and we beat, and after that match, I was rubbing my hands. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Obviously, things have changed in the intervening, 7 weeks or so, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, between the two fixtures. And there's been obviously a change in the management at the club. And as soon as they said Antonio Conte was walking through the door, I went, Now that's just made things an awful lot more difficult than they otherwise would have been, because I just knew that Antonio Conte would crack the whip. He would have an effect. I mean, if you look at this guy's CV, it is absolutely astonishing. You know, he's Juventus. He won the league there. He's won the league at Chelsea. He's won the league at Inter Milan. Now, all right, he's been given an awful lot of resources to achieve those particular accolades, but at the end of the day, he's done it. So I knew that he was going to have. There was going to be an upturn in their performances and by virtue of that, their results. So it then made me look at that fixture and go, And of course, then obviously there's a bit of a double whammy. We start losing players to injury and losses of form and all the rest of it. I kind of saw this coming. Just before I sort of like go on and sort of like, because you were mentioning that Harrison Ashby was quite advanced. Look there's his average position, number 50. He's sort of like, there's only two players that were further forward than him on average. It's incredible, isn't it? But listen, I got to say though that in the second half, we were the team that were forcing the issue. We were the team that were playing on the front foot. At the end of the day, who was Tottenham's best player on the night? Well, it was probably their goalkeeper, because I think but for their goalkeeper, they lose that match. So,
listen, without a doubt, I can't disagree with you.
Yeah, and you looked at the stats earlier that I popped up. We had more shots. We had more shots on target. We had, I think it was an 8-1 advantage in corners. So all of the metrics that point towards, this is the team that was on the attack for the majority of the 90, they all point to us. It just didn't happen on the night, which is really unfortunate, really gutting.
Yeah.
But do you know what? If it wasn't Tottenham, if it wasn't a League Cup quarter final, and let's say we lost 2-1 to Aston Villa at Villa Park, or 2-1 to Leeds United in just a routine game, I'd look at it and go, yeah, it's disappointing. But do you know what? I can look at that performance, I can look at those stats and go, I can take something out of that, because we gave it a go. It just wasn't our day. Their goalkeeper had a great game, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. But because it's Tottenham and because it is a quarterfinal, it does make me sort of go, do you know what I mean? Opportunity missed.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to touch on Larry's comment. He says there, I've started it. He says there, we never had an out.
Andy.
Sorry, Andy. I don't disagree with you, and I don't think Bowen is a target man up front, and I think that's where we fall down at times because we try to use Bowen and play the same sort of way that we play when we have Antonio up front, and it doesn't work because he doesn't have the physical prowess. He doesn't have the greatness that that Antonio has in that position of a lone striker. The way we play, so yeah, I get it. I just think his runs were good. He just wasn't being found well enough. But listen, I'm not. It is what it is. That's where I'm at right now. Look, we're out. I don't think we played badly. Christmas film, by the way. I don't think we played badly. I don't think we. I don't think we disappointed ourselves in the way we played. It's disappointing that we've gone out, but I don't think we would, disappointing in the way we played. I think we held our own, and I kind of saw a return to the West Ham of 4 or 5 games ago.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing now is we're out of the cup. We don't have to worry about Europe until, is it February? Yeah. I know we've obviously got the FA Cup game against Leeds, but for the next, 3 matches, they're all league matches. And when you look at them, they're all winnable games. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Southampton at home, Watford away, and who's the game on New Year's Day? Remind me. My brain's gone. I've got a funny feeling it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm not being funny. And this is no disrespect to those clubs because, listen, they could beat us, no problem at all. Yeah, away at Palace. They could beat us, not a problem at all. But we're a team that last season finished 6th. That's not a boast, that's a fact.
Yep.
And we're a team that this season we're in we have been, whether we still are as much legitimately can claim it, on the back of the last month is debatable, but we're a club that are in the shake-up for that 4th place in the Premier League. Now, if we've got aspirations of achieving that particular goal at the end of the season, then with all due respect to Southampton, Watford and Crystal Palace, I would suggest that we need to be getting at least 7 points from the 9 that are available, minimum. Yes. I would take a draw in one of them. I would probably say if we went to Palace and got a draw and won the other 2 games, I would say, do you know what? That's really a par score and then some.
Yeah, I think 7 points. I think I'd be disappointed.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Mind you, Palace have been half decent this season.
Yeah. I'm not saying that they haven't been, but I think I'd be disappointed. I think we need to pick them up. Hey, look at this. It's banging, isn't it? Look at this. Gorgeous. And then Leeds twice in 7 days. Listen, I think we're capable of taking 9 from 9. I do, based on how we played previously, and I'd like to think that we can take 9 from 9, but we have to show a little bit more, shall we say, ruthlessness in these games. We can't keep.
It's also a bit of luck, though, isn't it? I do think that there are times when all the difference is that a little bit of luck this way instead of that way.
Oh, sorry.
Behave yourself. But I think that you could say it was poor finishing, but at the end of the day, it was good defending as well. It was good goalkeeping, and like I say, maybe even a bit of luck. I mean, if Hugo Lloris is half a second. I mean, have you ever seen the film Any Given Sunday?
I have.
You've seen that speech from Al Pacino where he's like one half a second too early, too late. You don't quite make. Do you know what I mean? And it's absolutely true. You know, it's like that is the dividing line between success and failure. It is literally half a second here or half an inch there or whatever. You know, and that was the difference last night. It was, you know, but then you know, if me aunt had what's name, she'd be me uncle.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're capable. When I turn around and say that this side right now is capable, it is capable of a top 4 finish. It is capable. We've showed that. We've had a dip. We haven't had the injuries that have done us any favours. We haven't had the the drop in form has coincided with losing Zuma, Ogbonna, Cressy. You know, so but on the flip side to that, you know, he has COVID. We know this now, Antonio. Yep. What that allows now is dependent on Moyes' takeaway from last night is that Vlasic gets some more playing time over these next 3 games, Rob.
Do you know, I've seen a few people, and I'm not going to name names or anything like that because that's not fair, but I've seen quite a few people that have had a bit of a pop in the direction of Nikola Vlasic, and I thought he had a decent game. He petered out towards the end.
He's knackered.
But, you know, and I said to you, didn't I? You know, I'm sure the guy is physically fit. I'm sure that the guy could run and run and run, but there's a difference between being fit physically and fit to play a game of Premier League football. They're two completely different things. And the only way you'll get match fit is by playing matches. Now, he played a match yesterday. I thought he played really well in the first half. Second half started to taper off. But the best thing to do there is to sort of like to build that match fitness. Play him against Southampton. He's going to get fitter and more sharp by playing the matches at Premier League pace, but then sitting on the bench, coming on for 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, that's not going to work. No. And just one thing, I mean, because Gonzo said it, didn't it? No, because Gonzo said it on the what's name, didn't he? Because everybody's like, 30 million quid, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we haven't played 30 million quid. It's 17 million quid over 5 years. His wages are actually quite modest. And with the add-ons and all the rest of it, which maybe they will, maybe they won't. Yeah. It might go up to 27, but at the minute it's a 17 million pound outlay. So everybody that's jumping up and down and giving him stick because he's a 30 million pound flop, he's not 30 million quid.
He's a 17 million pound player right now. And he's playing like a 17 million pound player. I don't think he's playing badly. So, but you know what? Hey ho, there's going to be people there that are going to be questioning as to why he's in the team. Hi, Steve. People are going to be asking the questions as to why he's in the team and someone else isn't.
Who do you mean?
For me, for someone else who isn't currently in the team has had more than enough time so far this season, the last 5 or 6 games, to prove his worth.
Who's that?
I'm Ben Ramha. Ben Raham. He listen, I like Ben Rama and I want nothing but good for the guy. Mm-hmm. But when he's not performing, and for the last 5 or 6 games he hasn't, it's time for him to be dropped. Antonio hasn't played well for the last 8 games. Yeah. Time for him to be dropped. Fornals hasn't been setting the world on fire. But you can't drop both him and Ben Rama out the team and expect to be able to put someone else in because we don't have
the squad depth, do we? That's the problem.
You drop Ben Rama, you can bring in Vlasic or Lanzini. You drop Fornals, you bring in Lanzini or Vlasic or even Ben Rama, you know, depending on how you want to go with it. Do I want to see Benny back in the team and firing all cylinders? Yeah, I do. Steve, your comment there, as I made a comment last night on the live stream, I don't think he did too badly when he came on. I felt he was trying too hard to prove a point at times.
5 shots, didn't he, in his cameo appearance?
And of those 5 shots, how many of them really troubled? You know, he had the one that was straight down his throat, which
Yep.
Luis pulled into his chest. I remember he had the one that flashed about a foot wide on the good volley over on the far side. Everyone likes beating Arsenal. Silly question. Other than that, I don't remember anything that had me going, oh, like this from Ben Rama, you know? So I'm not saying that he didn't have a good game when he came on. He looked sharp, but I just felt like he was trying too hard. There were other passes. There were other times. There were times that I think he should have shot and he passed it. And there were times I felt he should have passed when he shot.
Poor decision making.
Listen, he's only going to get that by having a bit more confidence in himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I think Elliot liked my comment.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, look, we're out of the cup. Like I say, the old saying, we now concentrate on the league. So, Boxing Day, providing Boris doesn't throw a spanner in the works. I'm just going to come back to this because I just want to get your take on this one. Because obviously, Liverpool v Leeds, well, we've got 2 games against Leeds coming up, and Wolves v Watford, well, we're playing Watford on the 28th. Does that hand them even the slightest of advantages? Because obviously they're going to have a bit of a rest period, and as things stand, we're not.
Well, Watford get a bonus as well, mate, don't they? Because is it Watford we've got?
That's what I said.
And then Leeds obviously twice.
Yeah.
Now, are you telling me? So what teams have cancelled due to COVID in them 4 teams? What teams have cancelled due to COVID?
I don't know. All I've heard is that the fixtures are off. Whether it's one team, the other team, or both, I've got no clue.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Gates.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that they haven't got
13 players?
Including under 23s with first team experience? Are you telling me they don't have 13 players and an outfield and a goalkeeper?
Well,
are you telling me that? Because that was the rules.
Well, I'm guessing it must be Wolves that have got the problem then from Walsh's comment here, because apparently they'll be okay for the game on the 28th against us. But if they haven't
not got 13 outfield players and a goalkeeper, because listen, we all agreed to it. We all agreed to well, we didn't, not you and me.
Do you not think that there are going to be clubs though that are going to bend the rules to suit their agenda?
Listen, there's a reason Spurs look fresh.
Yeah,
against
it was Watford
Liverpool.
And Leeds.
Listen, there's a reason that Spurs look fresh against Liverpool.
Just hold that thought there, Walshy. If it was Watford that asked for a cancellation of their Boxing Day fixture, presumably because of COVID, this, that, and the other, how on earth can they turn around and say, but we're going to be okay 2 days later? I don't understand. Because surely if it's COVID, well, you've got to self-isolate for a week. So how on earth does that? I don't understand. I don't get that. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if there was a week between the fixtures, I'd go, yeah, okay, fair enough. There's 2 days. I seriously think this is open to abuse. I'm not saying.
Listen, they're already abusing
cheating.
it. They're already abusing it because otherwise,
exactly
they'll be told to play. They'll be told to play. I just think that they're now pulling out.
Oh, did they?
Pulling out the gates.
Okay. I've got to say, I've not kept an eye on who's cancelled because of what, and it's to be honest, it's so confusing. Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, look, long and the short of it is we're out of the Carabao Cup, and I said it sort of before. If we get knocked out, no one's going to feel sorry for us, and we're just going to have to wipe our mouth, dust ourselves down, and go again on Boxing Day. You know.
Yes.
Maybe we'll win the FA Cup instead. How about that?
All day long. Gatesy, just
we can dream.
Before you go, and the 10 people that are in the chat before we end up going over to. Oh, hello, stranger.
Oh, hello. Where have you been hiding?
Just before I go over to young Jake's channel over at West Ham Unofficial, me and Gatesy have been invited. We're going to go say hello. Gacy, have you sat down and watched Hawkeye yet?
No. No, the thing with Hawkeye, I mean, sort of like when you stop and think about it, he's the Avenger that doesn't have any superpowers. I mean, I suppose, all right,
that makes him better. That makes him better.
Okay.
Than all of them because he's a normal man. Tony Stark has all the suits of armor. You know, Thor's a god. Captain America's a super soldier. You know, between Hawkeye and Nat, they're just normal people, aren't they?
I'll tell you what. Before we go,
what's
your favourite Iron Man suit of armor?
Honestly,
go on.
It's the one. Is it Mark? Can't remember what one he's called it now. It's the last one in the. Is it Endgame? No, it's Infinity War, where he does the old nanobots.
Mark 50.
Yeah,
the Mark 50, because the last one was the Mark 85.
Which is...
I'm really sad. I actually know the different suits of armour.
Get lost, Squidward. Tap, tap, and it all...
That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what one I liked? And it was actually... it was probably his weakest suit of armour, actually. It was the one that was in Iron Man 2, the suitcase one. The Mark 5.
Yeah,
where it opens up and he just goes... Shh, boom, boom.
Who's your favourite? Like you, just before we go,
this is Avengers talk. So if anyone doesn't like the Avengers and Iron Man, you might as well go now.
Are you a Marvel fan, Rob? Like,
of course, yes.
Are you Marvel films or are you Marvel comic books?
Both.
You're both.
Both.
Okay, what's your favourite villain from Marvel as a whole?
Doctor Doom.
Oh, nice.
Doctor Doom.
Nice. See, I haven't got anything so fancy as that. I've cosplayed as my favourite.
Oh, have you?
Wilson Fisk.
Wilson Fisk.
Which you can imagine when I shaved this all off and I put on a suit. It works, and I've cosplayed as Fisk.
Do you reckon I could pull it off as Daredevil?
Well, you're blind as a bat anyway, so yeah.
Exactly.
She like
Steve
that.
says Dr. Octopus.
Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm going to see that tomorrow. The new Spider-Man film. That's on my list tomorrow.
You too, Alfie.
And to you, buddy. It's good to see you back. The best bad guy for ages was Bane. Yeah, that's DC, mate. But
my
favorite. Listen, my favorite bad guy in DC comics is the Joker. I've got to say, he is my favorite. But anyway, enough of this bullshit.
Doomsday.
Oh,
Doomsday.
Yeah, but they kind of ruined him. They ruined him in
Dawn of Justice.
Was it Batman Superman?
Yeah, Dawn of Justice.
Oh, yeah, was it Dawn of Justice? Because they made him look too much like a turtle. It was a combination of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and Abomination from Hulk, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's because they created him, didn't they? Whereas in the comic books, he was an age. Do you know the story of how Doomsday from the comic books?
You are not bad, you. You and me are going to enjoy some conversations.
Because you know how in the comic books, because basically he was like a genetic experiment, and they sort of like they bred him, they killed him, they got his remains, they regenerated, and basically they kept killing him, and each time he came back, he would be immune from what killed him before.
Yeah.
So eventually he became some sort of like just monster sort of super villain sort of thing, and ended up killing Superman. I've actually got that comic book.
I have.
Have you? Because you had the little black armband, didn't you?
Yeah.
I've
got that, and I've actually the DC the animated.
Oh,
DC
Alfie,
universe.
for Christ's sake!
Nice. # rate my poo.
Oh no.
The DC animated universe, Rob. They actually do a Superman or Reign of the Supermen, I think it's called.
Yeah,
which is straight out of one of the comics, and again, it is based around. Hi, Luke. They base it around the death of Superman.
Yeah, that's right. You had 4, didn't you? That were one was a robot and one was.
Oh, Rob, we're going to do this offline because otherwise
we're going to. He played for about 50 odd years, didn't he?
Hey, listen,
ridiculous.
Listen, I love that Blackie Gray, Taffy Morgan,
almost as bad as Nick Jarvis from Striker. You remember the Sun?
Nick Jarvis, I love that. I used to collect them. I used to collect them comics, mate. I loved it.
We got to go. We got 10 minutes.
We've got to be over there in 10 minutes, and I need to go and.
And as Larry says, for anybody that's still interested, please don't forget to hit the like button and do the usual, basically all that stuff. But more importantly, don't forget this, ladies and gentlemen, and it's in the description below YouTube and Facebook, and you can copy and paste it. You know the story. Please don't get me to because I will upset myself. I really will. And you don't want to see that. But you know the story with Isla. Please get this out there onto your social media platforms. And if I know it's Christmas and I know you've got money to spend, and some of us have had real shit years, some of us have been furloughed and lost our jobs and Christ knows what. I get it. But please, even if you've got a pound, there's Just Giving League. Do what you got to do, guys. No donations too small. If you've got more than £1, don't let me stop you. Thank you very much for listening. And we'll reconvene. I think we're planning to go again Christmas Day, aren't we, mate?
I think we might do a swift little one in the evening.
Yeah,
we might do probably a little bit less time than this because I'm very aware that it's Christmas Day and I don't want to take yourself away from your family and all these guys.
They'll probably be glad to get rid of me.
You know what? I'm beginning to think mine will as well, depending on where I'm going to be. Might end up at the in-laws now. I'm free from that fucking COVID. Yeah, but we'll see. I know we're out. I know we're out of the cup, and I know it was Spurs, and we're all disappointed. But dude, what are we? It's Christmas, and we are still fucking massive, Rob.
We are. Come on, you irons, and have yourselves a good Christmas.
Cheers, guys.